What's going on, guys? I have Winnie the Pooh Demon Hunter, and this is one of those where the IP became free for everybody, so a lot of people went to the horror route. This one did not. Now, it's called Demon Hunter, but it's more of a fantasy series. There just happens to be like monsters and demons within it. And so I gotta admit the name right off the bat caught me and drew me in, and I was like, all right, let's see what this is all about. And so after reading it, I gotta say I very much enjoyed the spin that we had with the Winnie the Pooh series. So let's just get right on in. So this is volume 1, and this is split up into a couple different chapters. So we have The Search, and this is written and illustrated by Nick Mueller. And so, once again, chapter 1, we just have a different cover for it. So our story opens up, and it's basically doing like the fairy tale narration, the Once Upon a Time kind of thing. And it's letting us know that the 100-Acre Woods was split up into 4 different kingdoms. When we have our 4 rulers here. We have Snow White, the Queen of Hearts, the Wizard of Oz, and Mother Goose. And so these rulers do not get along and frequently fight with one another, as is being demonstrated here. But then we take a sidestep from them and start focusing deeper in the 100-Acre Woods, where we find Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh. And they're out causing all sorts of mischief. And we see Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh both running from like a farmer or whatever. They apparently stole his jars of honey. And we do have a slight continuity error here. Winnie the Pooh's got 2 jars of honey. And over here, he's only got 1. Now, you could think that maybe he dropped one. But then when we cut over here, we have all 3 still there. So, again, nitpick, but it is a continuity error. Now, the 2 got their bellies full and just talking about how they're going to be, good friends forever and ever and ever. And then we flash forward to current day, and we see this city that is being ran by Humpty Dumpty. He's the mayor of this town. And all seems quiet until it's not. And we have a guy being thrown through a wall. That guy got thrown by Pooh himself. And Christopher Robin's over here now. And is like, well, anybody else want to give a smart-ass remark, or can we go on? We're demon hunters, part of the Red Riding Hood, and one of our own has gone missing, and we're trying to follow up on a lead, and we believe that this person's here, and they are looking for the gingerbread man. And so they spot this suspicious-looking guy here in a trench coat, because of course he's in a trench coat, and go to question him and have him remove all of his his covering. And of course, that is the gingerbread man. So, real quick, I do want to say, I want to both criticize and praise these opening moments here. So, Pooh throwing this guy through a wall, I feel, breaks his character a bit. As far as I could tell, there is nothing evil about this man. He's just a guy at the bar or restaurant or whatever this is, who possibly just gave kind of a smart-ass remark to their questioning. That doesn't make him an evil person, and therefore he doesn't really deserve to be thrown through here. And for the most part, this book will stick to believability as far as what we know their characters to be. So this is one of those instances where it breaks character. Winnie the Pooh, I do not think, would be throwing a guy through the wall, even though we are going in a different route. He's never been somebody who's been really temperamental like that, so I had a hard time buying this one. However, while they're questioning people, I do believe that he would be somewhat distracted by somebody else's food and be trying to take it. So it's like we lost focus on his character in the beginning, but we got back on track. And really from here on, there's nothing that I disbelieve as far as Pooh's character. It's just unfortunate that we started by having him throw some random civilian through a wall. If it was a bad guy, that'd have been great, but we did not clarify that. So that's why I have issue with it. And I know an adaptation seems a little weird, but again, for the most part, we do stick with their characters and believe them in this world, even though they're out hunting demons and stuff like that. And I'll reflect more on that later. So yeah, back to our story. Gingerbread Man, he's causing a little ginger on ginger violence here, and hits Christopher Robin with a big old blast. Pooh and Gingerbread Man now are getting into a fight. And needless to say, Gingerbread Man gets the better of the two and makes a getaway. The two recollect themselves and head on out, where we're seeing Gingerbread Man make a bit of a getaway. Kind of reminded me of ice powers that we've seen, whether it be like Iceman from the X-Men series or Frozone in the Incredibles movie. He's doing something similar where he's using his powers to kind of create a walk path. And again, there is a slight continuity error. He is above every single one of these buildings over here. Like, you can see the tops of every building. But over here, my camera's not going to do it too much justice. He's kind of like midway through pretty much all of them. He's maybe over the top of one or two. So a slight issue there. Again, so far, most of what I have is nitpicks outside of the Pooh breaking character a little bit there. Speaking of Winnie, he goes over, he cuts out the base with his chainsaw. I never thought I'd be talking about Winnie the Pooh with a chainsaw and cutting stuff up, but here we are. Destroys the base of it. Now, it does stop the Gingerbread Man from going anywhere. However, it does surround Pooh and Christopher Robin with a bunch of gingerbread residue. And so they do kind of try to figure out how to get out of this, and are just like, okay, how do we do this? I don't know why it does take them so long to figure this out. After all, Pooh is able just to chainsaw and break it, so why they don't just immediately go, hey, this worked once, why not try it again? Especially when that is what they end up doing. So I don't know why this wasn't plan A right from the start, like almost reflexively just do that, not have to dwell on it. But yeah, so they break out, and the Gingerbread Man's like, well, hate to have to do this, but here we go. He has like some sort of crystal and throws it up into the air, where it summons a whole bunch of demons. Like, it opens up a portal, and all the demons come through, and that's where Chapter 1 ends. We then go on to Chapter 2, and it says, a good day for a cause. And still everything done by Nick Mueller, so we're just going to continue right on here. And so they're hacking and slashing through all these demons, but they do eventually get overwhelmed, as we see Christopher Robin here. He's got a whole bunch of demons all around. But then something or someone intervenes. And they are understanding who it is, and it's another one of their group there, of the Red Riding Hoods. And now we are never given this person's name. Now, I looked into volume 2, and I do believe it's Evelyn. But it looks as though we were supposed to have like a name card right here or something to kind of let us know who this person is. But they never say her name in here. And so, now if I'm incorrect, I'll correct it when we do get clarity on her name. But I do believe it's Evelyn. And she's just like, you guys are in such big trouble. I don't know why you would take on a mission like hunting down the Gingerbread Man. And they're talking about, we had to for our missing guy, who was Piglet, by the way. Piglet is the one that they're tracking down. That is the Red Riding Hood demon hunter that is missing. Like, okay, well, we can discuss this later. For now, let's just take out all these demons. So big fight ensues, and everything looks to be going great until it doesn't. They see what's coming through the portal now, and it's like a big old giant ape demon thing. And they're just like, shit, how do we deal with this? And so they're trying to formulate a plan, and it ends up being Winnie the Pooh who ends up with the idea. And he basically, what his idea is I'm going to chuck Christopher Robin at the crystal, and he's going to go smash it. And that's going to work. At least I hope it's going to work. So he throws Christopher Robin, and he makes his way up to the crystal and smashes it. Now, I do kind of wonder, we could see on here that it's already busted up. It looks to be broken just to allow the portal to open. So why does breaking it more close it? I don't really understand. I probably just would have left this as like one whole piece, or had some sort of barrier around it that we can see, okay, that's now being destroyed, and that's what's closing everything up. Instead, we're just taking a broken thing and breaking it more. And I don't fully understand all that. But again, yeah, it does work, and luckily it just kind of sucks all the demons back through the portal, including the big Chungus ape thing. And Christopher Robin, he's fallen, he gets caught by Winnie the Pooh, and then everything is, good. Until Humpty Dumpty shows up, and he is pissed, because his city just got, partially leveled by the big ape monster and all the other demons. And so he's putting all the blame solely on our trio over here. Evelyn tells the other two to shut up just because they've caused enough trouble, and she'll handle it from here. The two have a back and forth, and he's just pissed. He's just like, no, who's gonna clean all this up? Who's gonna clean up my mess and put everything back together again? I want some justice. And then Evelyn is quick to point out that he's allowing Mother Goose's henchmen just kind of trolling around, and what's up with that? And Humpty is quick to kind of change his tone a bit, and Evelyn presses him further by maybe suggesting he could get relocated and to Oz or Wonderland or some other place, and none of that sounds good to Humpty Dumpty. So he's really starting to kiss some ass now, and he's like, oh, praise the Queen and long live the Queen and all this, that, and the other, and you guys are free to go, and don't you worry about that mess. We'll clean it right up, no problems. And so our trio then make it to the train station to head back to base. And Winnie the Pooh, he's worried about Piglet. And Evelyn's like, well, he knew what he signed up for. It happens as a demon hunter. The Christopher Robin, he's not happy with that answer. He's like, are you kidding me? What kind of fucking response is that? And she's like, look, we'll deal with this when we get back. For right now, let's just get on the train and get home. We then cut to a flashback where we have Piglet. He's running from some demons, and he's scared shitless here. And we see that the demons are catching up to him, but then they get all sliced and diced up, and then it's Winnie the Pooh who offers a helping hand to his friend. Piglet was just trying to prove himself brave and that he does belong as a demon hunter, and Christopher Robin's like, well, none of us try to hunt alone. We're stronger, and we have more strength in numbers. You don't have to do it alone. That's the point of this. And then basically, talking about how they're going to be good friends forever and ever and ever. And that you're seeing kind of part of what's driving Pooh and Christopher Robin's motivation behind trying to find their friend. That's kind of an insight that we're getting here. And then, they're both continuing to talk about him, and Pooh's just like, I hope he's going to be okay. And Christopher Robin assures him, he's like, he's not weak. We'll catch up to him. We'll find him. That's the whole reason why we're doing what we're doing is, we're going to clean up our 100-acre woods, and that's why we joined the army and everything. We then pan away from the train and make our way over to Mother Goose's lair or cave or whatever she's dwelling in over here. And we see that the gingerbread man has made it back and basically tells her, I'm sorry I failed and this, that, and the other. Mother Goose says, don't you worry. everything's finished, and we may begin our war. And that is where our story cuts out, and we see the Pied Piper over here. And so that ends the mainline story. Now we get some Tales of the 100-Acre Woods, which it's kind of more of like filler, but you do get some valuable stuff in here, so I do feel the need. We're going to go ahead and go through it as well. So we're back when Christopher Robin and Pooh were still in their demon hunter training, and they're around a campfire, and we have Captain Eeyore over here. And Eeyore is just trying to, tell him the whole life of a demon hunter is a pretty hard one, that there's going to be a lot of challenges to overcome and this, that, and the other. A lot of danger. And Christopher Robin and Pooh, they're just like, hey, no sweat. We've been in some tough situations before. And then they reflect on a time where they had to go to a honey tree and there's a bunch of bees all around, and how Pooh really wanted that honey. So they had to find a way to get by these bees. They tried an all-out frontal assault. That did not work. They were chased away. So then they got creative, and Pooh used a balloon and managed to at least get a little bit of honey before he was promptly attacked and stung, and had his balloon destroyed, and got stung up a whole bunch for his trouble and chased away. And then that was enough for their story here. And as they have a good laugh, and it's like, yeah, see, there's nothing we can't overcome. And then Eeyore gives a more depressing story, and it's his second year in as a demon hunter, and he's given a mission from the queen herself to locate some missing family members. It's her her sister and brother-in-law and their small 6-year-old child. And so he goes tracking through the woods, finds a destroyed carriage and some prints. He tracks that to a cave, a very dark cave. He has to bring in a torch. And here's a cackle. And the cackle is coming from this demon. And as we find out, the child's the only survivor. Now, this does not look like a 6-year-old child. This looks a bit older of a child, at least in this first shot. There is another one coming up later where she looks a lot younger, but I'd say at least a teenager at this point. But that's not that big of a deal right now. But yeah, the others have been eaten already. So Eeyore goes on and fights with this demon, takes a slash in the eye for his trouble, but manages to destroy the mask, which then destroys the demon. He then walks over and comforts the little girl and takes her home, and we find out that this is young Evelyn. And the story ends, and Pooh and Christopher Robin, they look a bit more serious now, and Eeyore just kind of says, okay, I need you guys to kind of ask yourselves, after hearing that, do you have what it takes to be a demon hunter? And that's where the story ends. And that's why I wanted to kind of reflect on this, even though you don't necessarily have to read it in order to still understand the story. It gives us more information, like how Evelyn came in to be part of the Red Hoods, and where Eeyore is as far as in command over here. This is our introduction to Eeyore. And again, this is what I was talking about prior, that a lot of our characters seem to be within their character, just fitted a little different for this kind of world. So it based on the knowledge that we have from like the show and the storybooks and stuff like that, you can understand how these characters would fit in here. Like Pooh being distracted by honey, being very crazy and willing to do stupid stuff in order to go get some honey, or like when they were questioning all the people, he saw some food on somebody else's plate, got distracted and wanted to go eat. He does make note of wanting to eat quite a bit, and from my understanding, from like what I remember in my childhood, this is very fitting for his character. Eeyore, he's like a commander, but he's still like, he brings down the whole mood, right? Everybody was happy and jolly about the little bee story that he had. He's like, okay, well, let me tell you a more depressing story. And I think that is still more fitting for his character in this world, based on the knowledge that we have to the stories from our childhoods. So, and that's what I mean by like these characters are believable and things like that. Christopher Robin sticking everything out with his buddy Pooh. That they're almost inseparable. And then Piglet being a kind of a scaredy cat, but still wanting to kind of prove himself. All of this, I feel, is fitting for the characters, and that's what I really appreciated about this. And I can't wait to like see more from these characters. I have some criticisms. Like, I didn't know Evelyn's name at all. Now, that's not that big of a deal for anybody outside of me, like, trying to do a review and just try to explain this. Like, I did have to go in and try to dig up a name, and I think only in the second book is there one reference to her name at all. I do feel like when we first see her, we were supposed to get, like, a name card, being dropped. That way we at least know. Like, it's like, boom, pose, Evelyn, right there. Outside of that, there's like one major issue and then just some continuity issues that really aren't too big of an issue. Like I said, with the jars of honey and stuff like that. Most are pretty non-consequential, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, overall, I would give this rating like a 7 out of 10. It's very enjoyable. There are some tisms within it, but I would certainly recommend this, especially if you wanted to see like a public domain IP being brought into something outside of horror. Everybody seems to want to go the horror route the way an IP becomes like publicly available, and I find that pretty dull and boring. So I found this to be a much more interesting approach to Winnie the Pooh and everybody within this story. So I'm very, very interested on continuing with this. And if this sounds like something that would interest you, check the link in the description where you can get a copy for yourself, or at least who to follow for any second chance campaigns that may arise. But that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.